All right, well, we're back for the discussion for The Gunman, and if you saw our review, we were not very hot on the film. We're going to talk a little bit more about why. It's really, really poorly written, lots of cliches, boring action set pieces that go nowhere. The entire story, you know essentially the entire story in the first 15 minutes. The only twist is the degree to which his friends kind of set things up, the degree to which, like, he was screwed over by the one guy, the, like, team leader, and then also by Javier Bardem. But the Javier Bardem thing wasn't a twist. Javier Bardem was just a miserable human being from the beginning.
Yeah, they pounded that into you so hard.
He's all over the girl right from the beginning. Yeah. Like, he's kissing her even though she's with Sean Penn, which the scenes of the scenes of Sean Penn and Annie, the character Annie, at the beginning of the movie when they're like sitting in the bar, it's like gross PDA. Like, it's not romantic, it's not like classy.
Yeah, it wasn't even like natural.
That.
Like, it was.
They're just like, it's like they're literally sitting there like taunting Javier Bardem.
Yeah, let's make dude awkward. Yeah.
It totally didn't make sense. Like, I know that there are probably people out there that would do that, but
yeah,
really?
The other thing was, the thing that I didn't expect was that the trailer sets it up that Javier Bardem is the main bad guy.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, I expected him to last.
I was expecting him to go longer. I was expecting him to. They cut the trailer in such a way to make it look like he's the one that has Annie held captive. Mm-hmm. And so those things were cool that, like, it didn't actually give that stuff away in the trailer, but that's not a very good, like, if your trailer looks like it's ruining half the movie, people aren't going to bother to find out if it does or not. Mm-hmm. Like,
although I will say I kind of like keeping the trailer out of it. I will say that, like, going into that with the whole heavy-handed setup with Bardem's character and about, you know, him basically shuffling Sean Penn away just so he can get the girl, and I was like, if that's going to be the whole point of this plot, is like he's just screwing him over and trying to kill him.
That's really what it seemed
like. That's what I thought for a long time. Yeah. I'm like, this is terrible. So I'm glad that they didn't do that, although I wish they would have not drug it out for, you know, the first 45 minutes.
Yes. And I wish Javier Bardem was a bigger part of the movie. Yeah. Even though that probably would have meant that they'd have to go down the absolute stupidest plot possible. Mm-hmm. It didn't make sense to me the way that it bounced from, like, it starts out in the Congo. We meet that character, the kid that he's like training that saves his life.
Yeah.
Who never shows up again.
Yeah, we never come back to him again.
They set him up to be like, man, this kid's awesome. And 8 years later.
Yeah. Like, maybe he'll...
I don't understand. Like, they make a point of... He even says, like, you're the only one that can do this.
Right.
Well, why? You know, and they bring in a perfect thing.
Because he's not white and because he's young and, like, he can get back there. But it's also the thing of, like... I have a lot of respect for you. You just saved my life. And you're like, okay, well, that guy's going to come into play again. It's like, no, they don't even go back to the Congo until the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect time to reintroduce that character, even if just to greet him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if he'd been there with Annie or something, like, that would have been like a better closed loop.
But I guess that was just too much non-male whiteness.
It also made no sense that he was, like, not 25 years older when he got to...
I know, right? Because obviously he went away for some amount of time.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, it's the next day in the Congo, whatever.
Yeah, my joke was they sent him to do community service. Like, he had to go dig wells in the Congo.
For 10 years.
Seeing him walk up at the end, my original thought was Morgan Freeman in Shawshank Redemption.
Yes.
He doesn't talk about what happened in prison.
And how about some of the really heavy... all the terrible symbolism
with the bullfighting.
That, and I know there was others, but I can't think of anything else but the bullfighting at the moment.
Yeah.
But there were just others, and I'm like, that is just so
ham-fisted?
heavy. Yes. Yeah. There were just some really terrible symbolism.
The thing that was weird to me was another thing that was weird to me was it starts out in 2006 in DRC, and then when he leaves, he goes to London, where he lives for some period of time. He goes back to Congo.
I think at one point he said he went back to America for a while. I thought.
That's
maybe.
That's
well, he said
possible.
home, and for some reason I assumed that was America. But yeah,
They never show America
It
because
didn't make any point.
he's in London for a bit, then he's back in Congo, then he's back in London, then he goes to Spain to hunt down Javier Bardem, which is where the majority of like the action sequences and stuff take place. And then he goes back to London for like 5 minutes to like talk to a few people, and then he's right back in Barcelona again.
Yeah, it's kind of muddled.
That last trip back to London is really bizarre, like in the pacing of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like it would be boring if we just had like 2 more action sequences in Barcelona. So let's send him back to London for a little while for some exposition, and then we'll do him back in Barcelona.
Yeah. But it just felt disjointed, didn't it?
It did. It felt really weird.
There are 2 things I want to bring up. That scene where Sean Penn punches that woman in the face just out of nowhere.
Which
That
kills
might have-
her.
In the temple.
He actually he hit her with the lock.
Yeah.
that makes way more sense. Oh yeah, because they
had
showed
the-
the bloody lock.
Yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't edited very well, so it was hard to tell if that's what happened.
I can see what you mean.
But that's why she like stumbled around for a few seconds and
Yeah, I was
then
gonna say-
dropped.
And then the part with the foreshadowing of the bull and him actually getting gored by the bull.
That like 8-minute
really,
foreshadowing sequence.
yeah.
yeah. The only real reason I wanted to point those 2 out because they were actually pretty cool. I can't get over like how shocked I was that he just all of a sudden hit this woman
That
in
might
the
have been the
face.
highlight of the movie. Was she's just talking, comes up, and then it's immediately obvious that she's working with the other guy. So he just pops her in the temple with a lock, and she.
Yeah.
I mean, that was hilariously surprising.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, did this just become a comedy?
Yeah.
Because it was so out of place.
I was also surprised that it took until about, I don't know, a third of the way into the credits before it said, yeah, Barcelona doesn't have bullfighting anymore. Like, this is supposed to be taking place in 2014, but they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So Sean Penn wanted to highlight a terrible, like, animal rights issue that's not even an issue anymore because Barcelona doesn't do it.
I think it was like a yay Barcelona. They let us shoot there, and we're going to put this plot device in there, but then we're going to say just kidding at the end.
Yeah, basically.
there were a lot of things that I just didn't understand. Like, I know that they put the idea that he had some kind of brain damage as the reason that he started taking notes. But then when he's looking at his notes in the apartment, he has notes from like way prior to when he started having damage. So he was obviously taking those notes for a long time.
Right. Well, and they said that the scar on his eye was from an IED, which happened before the events of the movie, so it's possible that he had
that could have been
memory issues.
That could have even been a decade earlier.
True, but he mentions at the very beginning that he's like, gosh, this heat in the Congo's killing me. I've actually had to start taking notes and documenting everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it makes it sound like it's something new, but anybody in that line of work is gonna back up files and keep things just in case something like this entire movie happens.
Right.
So they really didn't need that. So it felt tacked on as a way to extend scenes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sean Penn clearly has no qualms about shooting somebody without asking questions.
And the company he works for has no problem sending, like, a 49-year-old guy to go kill someone.
Yeah.
Like, their 49-year-old sniper.
Yeah.
Oh, and
who's got some, like, head problems.
They completely, in the trailer, ruin who the bad guy is, because they show the scene where he holds the phone down to a girl's head, and you can hear him say, you can hear him talking over that scene.
That didn't ruin it for me. I thought from the editing that it was Javier Bardem doing all of that.
Yeah, like I immediately knew when they introduced that character. I was like, oh, he's the one that kidnaps her. I figured Javier Bardem was the one pulling the strings, but yeah, it was just really bad. I mean, I'm kind of shocked, you know, even as a Sean Penn vanity project, this was terrible.
Yeah, it was really, really bad.
You know, so talking about the action sequences, because there's so many of them, and it's not just this movie. There's a lot of movies right now where it's that thing of everything has to be a close-up and jump cuts.
Yeah.
And, like, the idea is that it makes it seem exciting, but we're also kind of like... we've been so, like, desensitized to that it's not exciting. It just is like, come on. It would be good to have actually a long shot where you could actually see what's going on. But then, of course, they're doing it all in, like, 15 takes.
Right, and it makes
stitching it together. But still, it's like, is anyone else a little kind of tired of that style of action?
If they shot it closer, or if they shot it further away, they'd have to choreograph things more.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to work on things harder.
But they could simplify it and just kind of, like, you know... For me, it's kind of fatiguing, like, watching all those jump cuts and not, like, seeing what's actually happening.
I don't know what happened in, like, the last year and a half, but all movies are 2 hours now. And they don't need to be. Like, this movie does not need to be 2 hours long.
Yeah, it's not epic at all.
It was the slowest, most boring
It was really
action
slow.
film I've
Yeah.
I
ever
was surprised how slow it was. Just as slow, deliberate setups to everything.
I really can't even call it an action movie because there's so
Barely.
little spread out over the 2 hours that it's boring. It was almost a drama.
Yeah.
It was...
Yeah, there were so many action set pieces that were, you know, Sean Penn versus 2 or 3 guys, and they spend a bunch of time running around in the buildings, and he maybe MacGyver's like one clever thing, but it's like a 7-minute action sequence that only needed to be like a minute long.
Sean Penn in the mine. It was so bad.
Yeah.
Like there's literally like 2 minutes of him just unwinding the cord and then winding it back, and it's just I'm like, why is this taking so long? Just blow it up already.
Yeah.
Or just shoot them.
It's hard to wind cord when you have brain damage.
Oh, that's actually a good point.
That's the thing.
Everything takes longer,
It was,
especially the movie.
it was another PSA.
He forgot halfway through what he was doing.
He did.
This was a prequel. to
Luckily, he had a note on his
He wrote it down. Finish wiring mine.
It's a prequel to I Am Sam. It all makes sense now.
I think it's a prequel to Milk.
I never saw that.
I think after that he went and
What crazy?
became the like first San Franciscan.
And just completely shit on that woman again by like, oh, by the way, I'm gay.
Yeah,
It's just completely ruined.
yeah. You've ruined me for
everything her.
women.
All this was for nothing.
Yeah. How did we get here?
We just wrote a better movie,
We did.
Make that one.
The Gunman Milk.
Steel Gunman.
The Milk Gunman.
Thank you for watching our review. If you like the way we do these, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com, and thanks for watching.
But